Listen up, hockey fans. You're in the right place. A no-hold-barred debate between two hockey fans. Stay up to date on current issues in the NHL, even the controversial ones. Welcome to The Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud.
It is time for another episode of The Debate Hockey Podcast, episode number 104, June 15th, 2020. I am the host of the show, Brad Burud, joined alongside my co-host each and every week, Blake Friars. And yeah, we're still in the middle of this NHL pause. I don't know how we're getting through this, Blake, but I guess we are, huh?
I just can't wait until sports comes back because I think that'll be like the first sense of things getting normalized. Today, I stayed off social media all day, 9-year anniversary of the Canucks choking in the Cup final. So that was blasted all over social media by all the Boston outlets.
Yeah, I'm catching you in a lie here because I saw you tweet today. So... A vulgar comment.
I saw it, tweeted it, and then I stayed off.
Well, of course, because you didn't want anybody coming back at you. You did the chicken shit way out, right, Blake?
No.
Yeah.
Our day's gonna come. Our day's coming.
I know. Someday, every team has their day. Podcast rules still apply. We're not talking about the world. We're not talking about Corona riots, Black Lives Matter. We're not talking about any of that. I've turned all that off. That negativity, I'm done. I can't handle it anymore. I'm watching the frickin' Andy Griffith show, and that's it. I have just removed myself from all that BS. I want to relax.
How is the Ozark going for you?
Well, we're going to get to that.
All right.
I want to read off one thing, and then we're going to get to that.
All right.
I saw a friend of mine post this today, and it's pretty cool. And this is... all we're talking about the world. But it said, this is America. We have a virus, but 99% of those who contract it will survive. We have some racists, but 99% of the people you meet are colorblind and don't have a racist bone in their body. We have some bad cops, but 99% of law enforcement you encounter will risk their lives to save yours. If you see evil, then evil will see you. I'm choosing to see the good in all people, in all situations. I'm tired of the negativity. I'm tired of it. And I looked forward the last 5 days to getting back on the air with Blake and recording this episode so we could have a little fun and escape the garbage.
Yeah, no, this podcast, even though we're not face-to-face, which sucks, it's still a nice escape, just talk about whatever we really wanted to on the podcast.
Well, we've had to talk about some things other than hockey.
Well, yeah, because there's nothing going on.
We haven't had anything.
I think it's gonna be a good episode.
You mentioned the Ozark season 2, and I fumbled through season 1, and everybody's telling me, "Oh gosh, it's the greatest show! It's the greatest show!" Season 3 is just off the charts, and I made it through episode 1 of season 2, and I don't know if I can go on anymore.
It's season 2. The first 5 episodes is probably the hardest of the whole season, but it gets better. I finished a show called Outer Banks. It was pretty good. There's a limited 10 episode season.
But Blake, you've watched 100 things since the pandemic.
I mean, there's nothing to do here. I just gotta watch Netflix. But if you can watch a show where it's filmed in Spanish, but they got English over top.
Oh, no, you did not.
Listen.
Oh, God.
Listen, if you can get past that, Money Heist is the way to go. Money Heist is a really good show.
Way in hell ever going to read...
you that much? No, you don't have to read lips. It still speaks English, but the lips don't add up to the English. So if you can get past that and just listen to what they're saying, then you should be able to get by it. It's a really good show. It's called Money Heist. It's good.
I'm just going to try to struggle through those. I told you, I'm watching Andy Griffith. I want to feel good about the world. And that show makes me feel good. It does. And I've been, Blake, I've been struggling lately. You had your surgery was it last summer?
Yes.
And
I was on bed rest for 10 weeks.
And you hobbled around with your foot. And it sucked for you.
Oh, yeah.
Now, mine is not to the extent of your issue, but I've got freaking plantar fasciitis in my left foot. Now, that sounds like nothing major, and I guess in all
Where'd
reality.
you get that? How'd you get that?
You just get it, man. I don't know. There isn't like one certain thing I did.
Is it like gout or fungus or something?
No, it's not a fungus. It's I guess there's a tendon in the body of your foot called the fasciitis tendon.
Oh.
And for somehow, some way, I don't know what the hell I did, but in my left foot, I pulled it. And
it's like numb?
No, it feels like someone sticking a knife in my heel. And
so like whenever you walk, it just hurts?
Freaking kills. Once I get going,
work?
No, you fight through it, Blake. You don't take time off work. You know,
I don't know.
Once I get going after the day, and I can get it gets a little better. But when I sit down and then I go to stand up again, I almost pissed my pants the other night. I got off the couch and I couldn't even make it to the bathroom. I had to freaking crawl. It's just
Charles, you should have videotaped that shit.
Oh my God. But it's limiting my golf and it's pissing me off because I did golf yesterday, but I had to take a cart, which is, to me, I don't mind taking a cart, but it defeats the purpose of why I'm out there golfing because part of it's exercise. And shit.
Go to the left bushes, the right bushes.
No, I was freaking dead on yesterday, man.
Oh, new Tiger Woods in those.
I was dead on. If we wouldn't have had a 90-mile-an-hour wind blowing yesterday, I'd been...
Yeah, the wind's been really bad here, too. It's been so bad here.
We've had a windy summer. Feels like it's been forever since we recorded, too.
Yeah, what, 2 weeks now?
Yeah, we're kind of in the off season. We're doing every other week, and
unless something serious happens, we'll bring a bonus episode.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that would be. The only thing that would be is if they canceled the season for some reason. God, don't even freaking start. I'd be so pissed right now.
MLB? I don't think it's going to be an MLB season.
You know, let's talk about that for a second.
Did you see?
Did you see what Sid?
You read all this shit that's going on?
Did you see what Sid Sixtero said about it?
Oh yeah.
He said that, and I agree with this. He said that, you know, over the past 3 months, we've all been locked in our house. We've found Amazon Prime. We've found Netflix. We've found everything under the sun. Hockey's coming back. Basketball's coming back. Golf is already back. Racing's back. Football's on the way. We've got all these other things to take our mind now, and we've got some sort of normality coming back. Baseball players, this isn't 1994. We don't need you. It's 2020. And I loved his final comment. You don't play this year, you are dead to me. And I think a lot of people feel that way.
I think baseball will lose a lot of fans. It's just millionaires arguing with billionaires. Like, that's all it is right now. And like the fact that the commissioner said 5 days ago, 100% MLB's coming back, and then now yesterday or today, for that matter, he says, I'm not 100% sure that's going to happen now. Like, it's just like, there's so much shit that's going on. It's just like,
hey, you know what? These players better pull their head out of their asses because the owners go on as billionaires just fine without them.
Yeah, I know. Like, and I was talking to my buddy, and he said, like, players are easily replaceable. Like, they've done that before. And he said that there's hundreds of minor league players that are going to be ready today. So, I mean, the players just need to come to grips and take a little pay cut, and this shit should be on the road. It's
going to be crazy, but you know what, Blake? We got a busy show. We better get this thing on the road. Today, we're going to go over some news and notes from around the National Hockey League. Then we're going to give the listeners our NHL Award winners. And then we're going to do a little crazy name association. We did it last episode. I did it to you. You're going to do it to me. And then we will wrap with an episode of 3 questions as we bring that back after a couple-week layoff in this summer. 3 questions is one of my favorite things, and I'm glad we had it back last week and this week. So should be a good show. Make sure you check out our sponsor, UBGM. Daily fantasy hockey by fantasy hockey players. Hey, hockey fans, are you ready for UBGM.com? A brand new daily fantasy hockey app designed and built for hockey fans by hockey fans. Do you have ideas that would make your daily fantasy hockey experience better? Sign up as a VIP at UBGM.com/the debate. Add your voice to the growing community of UBGMers. You'll get a sneak peek at the app, plus an opportunity to tell us what you like and what you want more of from daily fantasy hockey. Join us today at UBGM.com/the debate. UBGM, we love hockey. All right, Blake, let's talk some news and notes from, I don't know, around the National Hockey League. We usually do this every single episode, and I had to take a little break from it because we didn't have a hell of a lot of news and notes from around the league. But with having a week off, there has been some minor, somewhat major happenings, I guess. One major happening is that we finally have a start date for NHL training camps. Do we call it training camps? What do we call it?
Yes, sir. It's called training camp. Training camp number 2. July 10th, baby.
July 10th we start with a projected start date to the playoffs, qualifying round, and I don't know, what do you call the other one?
First round bye
round,
game.
yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. That's
scheduled. Hopefully no date exact on that. Time frame of July 25th to August 1, and I hope it's on the July 25th part because we talked a little bit off air prior to the show about how long do the players really need, and we both talked about that most of the players are skating now, so if they get this month, and boy, I think you give them 10 days, 14 days at the most, I can't imagine they're not ready to play some hockey.
Yeah, 10 to 14 days, that's what I was going to say too.
These are professional athletes. I'm hoping they didn't sit in their house and eat frickin' Doritos and Pop-Tarts like you did, Blake.
I'll tell you what. If guys come in out of shape, they ain't playing. Like, this is the playoffs, man. Like, there's guys in the AHL that are hungry that will take that spot.
I heard Pedersen put on 22 pounds.
Oh, yeah, good. Maybe you won't get pushed around a lot.
Exactly, huh? Jeez, Blake, we agree on that? Hub cities, yet to announce the hub cities. It sounds like, and earlier reports I've heard rumblings that Vegas is a shoo-in and they're getting one of them, and that possibly next week we could get the announcement of both of them. Where do you see spot number 2 going?
Well, 2 weeks ago I said Columbus. Vancouver did put a proposal into the Canadian government.
Won't happen.
I don't think it'll happen either, but I mean the fact that they're at least trying.
But Blake, they're not going to have 2 of them on the West Coast.
They might do that. I don't know.
What about? But don't they? I think they're worried about television times and stuff. And
that's it. I
can't.
Fans on the East Coast are going to stay up till 10 o'clock and watch your team play.
Well, no, they'd make the teams play. No, they wouldn't do that. They would if it's the Eastern Conference and they're in Vancouver, they'd make them play. Games starting at 10 o'clock in the morning. Well. I'm sorry, you can adjust your body, but you can't do that. I just don't think that's fair. So
I think it's going to be Columbus still.
I honestly think that the league is trying their damnedest to figure out how to have it be in Toronto. I do. I think they are trying their ass off, but the Canadian government just will not pull their head out of their ass, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be Vegas and Columbus. I do.
Unless something drastically changes with the Canadian government, there's no shot in how that
because which is absolutely puzzling to me because you have virtually no cases hardly at all in Western Canada.
Yeah, I mean it's a different story out east. There's a lot of cases in Toronto and around the Montreal area, but that being said,
what's a lot though, Blake? Like has your my frame of mind on this whole thing has changed a ton. Like what's a lot?
Well, I mean, Saskatchewan only has 30 active cases. So, I mean, that's little to none. But I'm saying, like, do you have
a better? That's just astronomical. How low that is.
Yeah,
like there's other diseases that would kill us.
Saskatchewan is only 1 million people all total. So
30 people out of 1 million, and we are shutting things down. Are you freaking kidding me? 30 people out of 1 million. Do the math on that. Freaking astronomical. You have a better shot of getting struck by fucking lightning.
Yeah. No, I know. I know what you're saying. But like in the bigger city, like in Toronto, there is a lot of cases.
I know.
So like if something changes, I do think they will try to go to Toronto too. But
I think they're trying, but I don't. I think next week they have to figure it out, and I think they're just going to say, "Skip it, Canada. Sorry, you lose." And I'm not ripping on Canada. It's not.
I mean,
It's
it
not
makes
the
sense
people
to
of
go to
Canada's
Canada.
fault.
It makes sense to go to Canada because of the popularity in the country. But
No one's going anyways, Blake.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, if it was in Canada, I think more people would watch.
Why? What do you mean more people will watch? So you think Toronto Maple Leafs fans are going to be like, fuck it, games in Columbus tonight, I'm not watching?
Well, no, I'm not saying that. Like, I think if the games are... No, I don't know.
That was a dumb comment, right, Blake? It's okay. Just retract it. Yeah, I don't think it matters, honestly, to fans.
I keep forgetting that there's going to be no fans. Like, it just
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they're at. I don't think it matters at all where they're at.
You're just there to watch the 3 games against the Jets, and you're out of there, huh?
Probably. You're probably going to watch 4 and be gone. So.
Oh yeah, like we're going to lose to Minnesota. You need to settle down over there.
I don't know. Bruins player and Coyotes staff member test positive. You know.
No,
I saw people freaking, and one of them was false positive.
What? Yeah, the Bruins player is false positive.
So, like, will this slow the process? Are people going to have like freak out moments over this, or are we just going to go about it?
That's another thing that Gary talked about today on the ESPN special. He talked about if a player does get the coronavirus, he'll just get isolated. It'll be a 14-day quarantine, and then kind of like what we talked about a couple weeks ago. He just reassured that that's what was going to happen. So he didn't say how many cases it would take to totally squander the thing, which is understandable. But he kind of just gave us a baseline of what would happen if somebody did test positive.
So Stanley Cup probabilities have come out on Sportsline. Have you seen these, Blake?
No. As soon as I saw that Minnesota had a 70% chance to beat the Canucks, I just totally stopped reading those.
Where did you see that? That's freaking awesome. Where did you see that?
No, it was on some site, and
Is it a site out of Minnesota?
I stared at it, and I am like, what in the fuck is this shit? Like, this is so garbage. I just shut everything off.
You want to hear the odds? I'm going to read these off to you, and I know it's a lot of teams.
Let me guess the top 3 teams.
Okay, you guess the top 3. I meant to send this to you, Blake, because if I would have really had my ducks in a row today, I'd have had this sent to you, but I didn't, so I'm sorry.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay.
Yep, 17.9%.
Colorado.
They're number 3 at 10.4.
And number 2, is it, I don't think it's Vegas. Is it Vegas?
No. Washington's number 2 at 10.8. Okay. Boston's 4 at 9.8.
Wow, Boston's 4, eh?
Yeah. I thought they'd actually be higher.
I thought they'd be like 2.
Okay. So, but here, I'm going to read out. Okay, this is where things get a little hairy. And the credibility of it goes out the freaking bottom of the ship here. Okay, the Rangers are next at 8.4.
You lost me.
Then the Blues are at 6.9. The Flyers at 5.8. Vegas at 4.9. Toronto at 4.5. Edmonton at 4.0. Vancouver at 2.9. Nashville at 2.9. Minnesota at 2.9. Florida at 2.4. Pittsburgh at 1.7.
What?
Carolina at 1.1. Winnipeg at 1% chance. And then there is 7 teams listed at having less than 1% chance of winning it. Yeah, they are Arizona, Dallas, Chicago, Montreal, the New York Islanders, Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Calgary Flames.
Oh, yeah, Dallas, top 4 team in the West, 1% chance. Like,
less than 1%.
Is this?
I read this and I'm like, oh, boy. I'm hoping...
Yeah, I'm hoping whoever made that is like a baseball fan or something.
I don't know. So now there is other talk in the league, and I wanted to bring this up to you to get your opinion on this. There's also some rumblings that a few owners in the league want to adjust the season schedule, which usually runs from October first week to the end of the regular season at the first week of April, and then we go into the playoffs and have them done by about June 18th.
Yeah.
Well, some owners, Carolina being one of them.
Shocker.
Yeah, big shocker, huh? Want the season pushed back to start not just next year, from here on out, in mid-November, and end the regular season in mid-May, with playoffs being May to the latter part of July. And they feel that this would help with college football, getting out of the end, start following the NBA and the National Football League. They'd say that
they would have to compete with baseball, and baseball would blow the NHL out of the water.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
Yes, it will. I think it would.
No, not playoff hockey. But here's the problem: people just don't want to be in their house watching sports on summer nights.
That's true.
That is true. That's my thing.
I'm looking forward to going on the deck with a TV though this summer. I'm looking forward to that.
And you're going to get eaten a lot. Blake, you know where you're at? You're in southern Saskatchewan. You're going to need a blood transfusion from the mosquitoes.
Go up to the lake, watch some playoff hockey on the deck. Sign me up for that.
No, I'm excited about it. But you know what? I'm only excited because we've been
There's been no hockey for 4 months.
But if it was normal, I'd be pissed. Because
in the summer you're supposed to relax. You go golfing.
Yes.
Like I like hockey, but I don't think I like that.
I want hockey freaking starting in October, and I want it stop. I want it the way it is. I don't want this changed.
It's such a shocker that this dumb owner wants to be different.
There's more than one that are on board on this, Blake. Believe it or not.
How many? Like 3?
I don't know. I didn't hear any other ones. I heard there's other ones. Did you take your blood pressure medicine today?
No.
Oh boy, because I'm going to bring up a topic here, and I know you saw this. I know you saw it.
So what?
Let's talk about the Super 16, NHL.com's ranking of goaltenders.
No, we're not talking about this. We're not talking about this. What, you want to do word association?
No, we're going to get to that. You want to talk about this?
Not really.
Well, let's at least go through it a little bit so that the listeners know what we're talking about. And it is an article on NHL.com, which usually is pretty good. But I completely disagree with their rankings of goaltenders.
100%. I looked at it. I didn't look at it. I glanced at it. And I read the title. It's Super 16 ranking the top goalies. I looked where Markstrom was, and I didn't even read the rest of the damn things.
Well, they got Tuukka Rask first, and I would say he's in the top 5.
He's in the top 3. He's in the top 3.
They got Andrei Vasilevsky second. I'd probably have him first. Connor Hellebuck they have third, which I'd probably have him in the top 4. They have Jordan Binnington fourth. Well, I think Jordan Binnington's good, but he has not proven that he's in the top 5. I would say he's in the 6 to 10.
Yeah.
They have Ben Bishop at 5, which I would say that's about right. They have Carey Price at 6. I'd say that's about right.
Yeah.
Marc-Andre Fleury, they have at 7. I would move him up.
Yeah.
They have Frederick Anderson at 8. I would actually move him up.
I would move him to 16.
No way.
The guy is junk in the playoffs.
Well, we'll see. They have Braden Holtby at 9. That's about right. They have Carter.
Wait, hold on. We're talking about the Braden Holtby that had a 3.2 goals against average and a save percentage under 887. That's the guy. That guy's the top 10, really?
Well, Blake, come on, cut the kid some slack.
I'm being serious.
Cut him some slack. That was for a freaking part of his, a fragment of his career. Right?
I don't know. What are we ranking off this season or their careers?
Okay, so we're ranking them off of right now. What would you pick? So then, if that's the case, then Carey Price goes out of the top 20.
Well, I mean, he's still a good goalie.
No, wait a minute though. So
it's the top.
So is Braden Holtby
qualified for the playoff?
They're not.
It's the teams that are in the playoffs.
No, they're not, because Calgary's goalie's not even listed on here.
Well, I know that because they're not one of the top 16. That's it
has nothing to do with what teams are in the playoffs, Blake. None at all.
Okay, but
because there's 2 Vegas Golden Knights ones.
Yeah, which is
so. That has nothing to do with it. But they got Carter Hart at 10, anyways, and that's about right. They have Tristan Jarry at 11. He has not proven to be that. Elvis Merzlikins, which I like him, but I don't think he's at 12 yet. They have Jacob Markstrom at 13. I would say he's about at 7 or 6 right now. They have Darcy Kemper at 14. I'd say he's about 7 or 6 right now, too. They have Sergei Bobrovsky at 15. I would say he's at least 8. 7, 8.
Yeah.
And they have Robin Lehner at 16, and I don't know. I'm still not sold on Robin Lehner. Are you?
Well, he's had a couple good years, though. Like really good seasons.
So are you paying him? If you're a general manager, are you paying him?
Yeah, I would pay him. I would really pay him. He's got
like what?
I would give him like $5 million.
Well,
over like a 4-year deal.
You'd pay him for 4 years?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think you'll get him at 5.
Well, I mean, he literally just bet on himself this year.
Yeah. And he's a free agent at the end of the season.
Do you think it's going to pay off with all this, with all the revenue loss? You think he's going to get a contract?
Well, yeah, I think he'll get a contract. I just don't think it'll be as high. I don't think any of the free agents are going to get high contracts because they're just not going to be able to afford to.
I think we're going to see a lot of 1-year contracts this year for free agents.
1 or 2, because you know what?
Yeah.
Let's face facts. The cap's not going up for 3 years at least.
No, two for sure.
2 for absolute sure. Probably 3 or 4.
Probably 3 though. Probably 3.
I don't know.
Anyways, but talking about this list, Markstrom, top 5 goalie this year.
This year, yes.
20,000%. He's top 5 goalie.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to pay him like a top 5 goalie?
You have to. Vancouver's no choice.
I know. So who are they going to let go then?
In Seattle?
No. Who are they not going to be able to afford to pay?
Well,
they're going to have Besser, Pedersen, Hughes. I mean, one of those guys is gone.
They have a lot of guys. No, they can afford all of them.
Really? What are they going to pay the?
So you have Markstrom, Toffoli, and Chris Tanev for UFAs this year.
Toffoli's gone for sure. Then
no, he's not.
You're not going to be able to afford all these guys.
Toffoli is priority number 2 behind Markstrom. Tanev is out the door. You have Brogan Rafferty in the system that just put up 52 points in the AHL.
Okay.
That's ready to come up. And I'm saying
you're over the cap, Blake.
Okay,
because Markstrom's going to get 7.
We have $22 million in cap. Hughes 2 years entry level more. Pedersen 1 more.
What happens when that's done? Pedersen's done after the next year.
Listen to me. Tanner Pearson's off the books next year. That's $4 million. Berchi's $3.2 million off the books next year. Brandon Sutter's got 1 more year at 4.7. Alex Edler 1 more year at $6 million. That's $30 million right there, all off the books.
Yeah, but you have to replace players, though, Blake.
We have
you can't play with 16.
We have a good system that we're going to have prospects that are going to come up and be good. Like that Podkolzin, top 10 pick, he's coming up next year. That Nils Hoglander just signed out of Sweden, he's coming up in 2 years. Like, we got pieces. I'm not worried about the Canucks, but I will say this.
So Demko's gone then.
Demko's going to Seattle. Yeah. Unless Vancouver.
I don't know if Seattle will take him. I don't think they're going to be able to afford him. Even if Seattle doesn't take him, I don't think they're going to be able to afford him.
You don't think?
Why would Thatcher Demko want to stay there if they sign Markstrom long term? Why would he? What would be? I'd be like, nah, I'm out of here. If you're going to take Markstrom over me, that's fine. I understand it, but I'm out then.
Well, no, he's an RFA though.
No, I know. So he'll sign for 1 year and then be gone.
Yeah,
why is he? Why? If he believes in himself, why under God's green earth does he sign for more than 1 year?
I don't know. But we are going to see how smart Jim Benning is the next 2 years with these contracts.
Mm-hmm. That would scare the living shit out of me if I was a Canucks fan. Scare the living shit out of me.
Patterson's taking $8 million 7 years.
Why? Why would he do that?
And he's taking a pay cut, hometown discount, keep everybody together.
He's from Sweden, Blake.
Yeah, and all the Swedes that played for Vancouver have taken less. So you ever think about that? Sedin twins, you ever heard of them? They took less.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to influence Pedersen.
Never know. Hey, that was his boyhood dream. Play for the Canucks.
God. It was not. How do you know that?
He had a Vancouver Canucks T-shirt on when he was 6 years old, man.
Oh, I'm sure. Because
I'll send you the picture. I'll send you the picture after this episode.
Oh, you probably have it saved. I'm sure. That's pathetic.
Can we get to WA now, man? Come on.
To what?
WA, Word Association.
No, we're doing that last, Blake.
We're doing it last. Oh, you started
awards. Let's talk about awards. Let's talk about awards.
Okay, what trophy do you want to talk about first?
Okay, well, let's talk about the trophies that have already been named. Yeah. The first being the President's Trophy, Boston Bruins, 100 points in 70 games. That's a .714 win percentage. That was a damn impressive year for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the NHL just rewards them by absolutely screwing them over. But
well, they didn't have a choice, so.
I don't know.
How does the NHL change that system to make it any better? Like, I'm not saying it's perfect,
but nobody was catching Boston for first.
Nope,
now they have to play like it's
the only thing that I think they could have done in the qualifying was weighted them so that the teams would have had to have a higher record win percentage in this qualifying round to catch up. Like Boston gets bonus points for being higher in the standings. I don't know. There'd have to be some tweak in there, but that's the only thing I could think
of. If I was Boston, I'd be pissed off.
Well, it's about time Boston gets screwed, huh?
Yeah, but that doesn't take away the season that they had. Oh. I hate Boston, but I'm saying I'm just being a hockey fan right now. Like they're a great hockey team that kind of got screwed over.
They did. They definitely did. Jennings Award does go to Boston also, and it's a goalie team with the fewest allowed goals. Tuukka Rask and Yaroslav Halak pick up that trophy. Yeah. Another very impressive year. That tandem is it's tops in the National Hockey League, and I dare anybody to argue that one.
But I'm just thinking, like, Tuukka Rask talked about retiring after his contract next year. Like, do you really think Halak is like?
Yes, I would love Halak. I would love it. I would freaking love.
He's 36 though.
Yeah. So Blake, does that you don't know their goalie prospects? Like you don't know what there's so many things that can change from now. And what are they supposed to do? Just be like, oh no, hit panic now. They're winning freaking Stanley Cups. They're gonna hit the panic button because Tuukka Rask might retire in a couple years. By then, they'll probably. You think that they're not addressing that in the minors? You think they're not addressing that? You think teams are just like, it'll never, come on.
I don't know.
They would fill that hole easily. Art Ross Trophy goes to Leon Draisaitl, top points, 110 points. Is Leon Draisaitl one of the top 3 best players in the league?
I think he is. And a large part of that is thanks to one of the best players in the NHL's ever seen. But he showed when McDavid got hurt that he can carry the weight, and he was great this year.
Rocket Richard Trophy, top goals. There's a tie for that with 48 goals. David Pastrnak of Boston and Alex Ovechkin of Washington. 48 goals in 70-ish games. Pretty impressive, I guess, huh?
Ovechkin lost 12 games this year, but he's still breaking Gretzky's goal record. God.
Just like Blake thinks he gets bonus points for every episode if he brings that up or the 2011 Canucks. Do you want to talk about the 2011 Canucks? We got an anniversary date today, don't we?
No, we don't.
Yeah, it's an anniversary date, and it's not. No. And yesterday was a very special anniversary too in the National Hockey League.
1 year from the Blues winning the Cup?
No, 1994, the New York Rangers defeated the Vancouver Canucks in 7 games.
Back-to-back days just of taking a beating on social media.
And that was a lot of fun. I actually watched part of that game. It was a rerun last night on the NHL Network in the States.
We should have won that series.
Oh, jeez. You weren't even alive, were you?
I watched all of the replays. We hit so many goddamn posts that series. Richter, you played good, but...
you know what? I watched that last night, and boy, oh boy, did players interfere /hook. Oh my God.
Just up and down the ice, just whack, whack, whack. And can you imagine today, people doing that to McDavid?
Oh my God.
Oh, it'd be just
the world of whiners would be unreal.
Oh. Rick from Red Deer would be at his
trophies that we're not going to talk about tonight, but are still trophies that'll be named at the NHL Awards. But I didn't feel like we should be picking the Lady Byng for Gentlemanly Player, the GM of the Year, the Ted Lindsay, which is a player voted MVP. So I'm not a player, you're not a player. How the hell can we vote? And then the Bill Masterton for perseverance, sportsmanship, and dedication to hockey. We will let the professional hockey writers handle that one. We are going to pick the 6 that everybody talks about and everybody goes back and forth on who should be winning. And I have my picks, Blake. Do you have yours?
Yeah, I do have mine.
So let's talk Hart Trophy right away. This is given to the player selected that is proven to be most valuable to his team.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you have winning that?
Well, this is absolutely no-brainer. It's Leon Draisaitl.
I disagree.
It is 100% Leon Draisaitl. The guy. What Leon Draisaitl did in the 12 games that McDavid missed, he kept the Oilers afloat, kept them relevant in the playoffs, and he was the best player in the NHL, and he was the most valuable to the team.
I think Nathan MacKinnon deserves it, and the reason I say that is I'm not sure where the Colorado Avalanche would sit in the standings without the success of Nathan MacKinnon. And we saw that, how he takes charge of that team last year. It was very evident in that first round ass kicking of the Calgary Flames. And this year, I just watched him a lot this year. He was such a wake-up call to me last playoffs that I really paid attention to him this year. And I'm not taking away from the other players or the Colorado Avalanche team, which I think is a top 5 team in this league. But Nathan MacKinnon just really takes that team, and they go as Nathan MacKinnon goes.
Yeah. No, yeah, you can go with either or, but I think it's Leon Draisaitl. You could also throw Panarin into that conversation too.
And I thought about that too, but I just looked at where that team is.
That would probably be my second choice, because what he did with the Rangers this year was impressive. That's a Zibanejad-Panarin duo. It's probably one of the best duos in the league.
It'll be interesting to see how they fare in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I think
the Rangers are getting a lot of love heading into this playoffs.
Because that what's that guy young goalie's name?
Shesterkin. I love him. He's great.
He was hurt when the NHL stopped, and now he's healthy now, and I think he's going to start over Lundqvist in the playoffs. He has to.
What about Georgiev?
Lundqvist might be wearing his sexy suit up in the press box.
He might be. He might be. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if the Rangers won a cup and he wasn't involved in it?
Oh man,
could you imagine?
I feel so bad for him though. Like, I mean, he still gets a ring, but it's like,
could you imagine? Could you?
I'd be. Oh, I don't know.
Gosh, Norris Trophy given to the defenseman who demonstrates the greatest all-around ability in the position.
Oof.
Key, the greatest all-around ability in the position. Go.
Oh, this was the hardest one that I had.
No, this isn't the hardest one. This to me was the easiest one. I had 2 guys I was considering.
The easy answer is John Carlson.
Wrong.
But I'm going with Roman Josi.
I'm going with Roman Josi too, simply because what it says described here. Greatest all-around ability in the position.
He does it both sides. He's a good leader, and he does it on both ends of the ice. And I think that the second half that guy had, he kept Nashville in the playoff hunt by himself, basically. And like, not taking anything away from John Carlson, he had a fantastic year. He had a blazing red hot start, and he kind of cooled down a little bit midway through the season. But Roman Josi was unbelievable too. He gets Norris for me. Me
too. And the only other guy I really considered was Victor Hedman, but after the impressive year that Roman Josi put up, how could you go anybody else? Now let's move on to the Selke, and this is given to the forward who best excels in the defensive aspect of the game. And
I want to hear your answer first.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm gonna just. God, I'm the exact opposite of what I'm doing right now. But I think this award is sometimes a popularity contest. And I don't know, this year, as much as I don't usually follow analytics, I'll just, I'm going to go with the analytics guys. They keep talking about Sean Couturier, the Flyers, and hey, I guess I'm buying what they're serving.
That's who I have too.
Usually it's freaking Patrice Bergeron, right? Isn't that what it usually is? It's Patrice Bergeron?
Well, I think that's what the trophy's actually called, the Bergeron Trophy.
It used to be the Datsuk Trophy, too.
Wins it every year.
God. Let's roll on to the Vezina, and this one goes to the goalkeeper selected best at his position, and this one is a tough one. I I had 4 of them in mind. I really did. I had 4 of them.
I only had one.
You had 1, huh?
Yep.
Who do you got, Blake?
I got Connor Hellebuck.
Hey, Connor Hellebuck. I have him too, but I got you on the bandwagon on him.
Because the fact of how bad the Winnipeg Jets decor was this year. And he still...
You know what? Don't say that, though. Yes,
okay,
they had a very depleted decor, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think that decor did a hell of a good job for who they were and what they were faced with. I thought they did great.
Well, that's because of who... That's part of who coached them, though.
It's Paul Maurice, and yes, they got good goaltending too. I'll give you that. But you know what? They overachieved. They did great for what they had, which was nothing.
That's what I'm saying, and it was on the back of Connor Hellebuck, and the fact that he's not getting any love in that.
I think he wins this trophy, don't you?
Oh yeah, I think he does for sure.
Yeah, I think he does too. Who else did you consider? I considered 3 other guys. I considered Ben Bishop.
I would say Tuukka Rask, Ben Bishop would be the other.
Yeah, and I also considered Vasilevsky, and the reason I did that is just because day in and day out, I still think he's the best goaltender in the National Hockey League.
You could also throw Markstrom into that conversation too.
I thought about it, Blake. I know, and I'm not even arguing with you. I actually thought about it.
If you look at analytics, he's literally top 3 in every single category that they do for Vezina. Obviously, if he doesn't get hurt, he's probably in this conversation, but he missed 13 games and with his dad dying and a lot of stuff. It was just he had a super good year for everything that went on.
Yeah, well, he was great. Like I said, I would definitely have him in there. I think there's a lot of teams that are going to give him big money offers. I really do. I really, really do. I think he's a top 5 goalie in this league. I like his composure. He won so many games for the Vancouver Canucks this year. It was ridiculous. Night in and night out.
He had the most stolen games. He had 9.
Night in and night out. How many times this year, Blake, did I text you and say they don't get 2 points tonight without Markstrom? Like, how many times did that happen? Like, there was that one astronomical how many times he won games for them single-handedly.
There was that one game, I think it was against Chicago, where they retired the Sedin twins number. And the shots after the first period were 25-6. And the Canucks were up 2-0. I'm just like, oh my God. They got outshot 40. He had a 49 save shutout. Yep. And they won 4-0.
Yep. Guy saves the day. Let's roll on to the Calder Trophy, and this is given to the player selected as the most proficient in his first year of competition in the National Hockey League. The Rookie of the Year award, the Calder Trophy. Do you want me to go, or do you want to go? You having problems tonight, Blake, dropping the microphone? Like, what are you doing?
There's only one answer.
Oh, my God. It's
Quinn.
No, let's go to a commercial break, right, huh? Let's go to a commercial break.
Inside Edge Hockey News. Bringing
Quinn
you
Hughes.
inside the game.
It's Quinn Hughes. Don't cut me off. It's Quinn Hughes.
Oh, my gosh. It's not.
You want to know a fact?
Sure, Blake.
Who had the most points for rookies this year? Oh, Quinn Hughes. Okay, thanks.
How many more games did he play?
He played 9 more games. Okay, listen to me. He had 11 times in the last 14 seasons. The rookie with the most points has won the Calder Trophy.
That doesn't mean it's right, Blake.
Kale, to me, you have to have a healthy season to win the Rookie of the Year. You cannot miss almost 15 games and win the Rookie of the Year. It's the same reason why Binnington didn't win Rookie of the Year. He didn't play enough games.
Binnington came on in January. That's a big difference, Blake.
Okay,
it's a big difference.
Quinn Hughes played all but one game. He played all but one game.
Okay, I picked
Cale Makar missed 13 games.
That's not his fault. I picked Cale Makar, and here's why. And here's why. Because I think he's an all-around better defenseman. Because that's the job. It's not just putting up points. What shocks me, Blake, you know what really shocks me about this? Is that we're talking for the first time in I don't know how many years about 2 defensemen, not forwards. Like, seriously, when's the last time that's ever happened? Okay, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
In my lifetime, I don't think it's ever happened. No. And, like, the fact that The three defensemen that are going to be owning the NHL for years to come: Hughes, Makar, and Dahlin, and they're all under 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely crazy.
The reason I pick Makar and like this is my only reason. I think that he's an all-around better player, especially on the defensive side. I think Quinn Hughes has a little bit more to offer offensively than Makar, but I think Makar is better on the back end, a little tougher, bigger, stronger. And I think if you looked and you polled the 31 general managers out there right now, and you said, hey, you get one defenseman under the age of 22 that you can build upon and build your team upon, I think Cale Makar gets selected more than anybody else.
I think it might be 50-50.
With him and Dahlin or him and Hughes?
Him and Hughes.
I don't think so.
I
don't think so, Blake. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of people that would want a Quinn Hughes. Every general manager would want one. But I think if they had their pick to build their decor on, I think that Cale Makar offers more up.
Why? Because he's 3 inches taller
and stronger and bigger and plays the back end better.
They're the same player.
No, they're not. Quinn Hughes is a better skater than Cale Makar.
Quinn Hughes is a better skater. He's a better puck handler. He sets up the power play better. I watched Makar in the West a lot this year because I was so sick of hearing this debate. I actually took time out of my day and watched some Colorado Avalanche games, and I still would take Quinn Hughes. I'm not even saying that because I'm a Canucks fan. I just think he's a better defenseman. I do.
I knew you were going to argue this one.
I think Hughes will win the Calder.
This will be the most debated one for sure. We got one more to talk about, and that is the Jack Adams Award. That's given to the coach selected to have contributed the most to his team's success. And I, honest to God, had about 9 of them that I could have named. I'm not even kidding.
Travis Green? Nah, jokes. He didn't win. I'm gonna go with John Tortorella.
That's who I was going with. Like, Blake, we're supposed to debate on this show. Like, I believe Tortorella too.
I think with what Tortorella lost last year, he lost Duchesne, Bobrovsky, Panarin, and he still got the troops going and kept them in the playoff race. And he lost his starting goalie for 3 weeks, and he still pulled a rabbit out of his ass and won games. And I think he did a great job of pushing his players to get the most from this year.
I'm with you. I think that John Tortorella did everything, because when you think about what our projections and our thoughts of the Columbus Blue Jackets, after all the players they lost last year, I didn't think they had a snowball's chance in hell at even being close to making the playoffs under the original format, and they did.
Yeah.
Blake, I wish the listeners could just see what happened, but Blake just fell off his desk. Is that possible?
No,
next year you're going to get to see that, because next year we're doing this with video, believe it or not. And that is coming in the episodes ahead here. But you would get to see Blake falling off of a desk and almost hitting his chin. Oh my God, Blake, it's something every single week, isn't it?
Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
The NHL Awards, there has been no word on when and how the awards will be presented. I'm sure it'll be done during the playoffs.
Virtual awards? It's going to be virtual awards hosted by Gritty.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Huh? No, honestly, I think what they'll do is probably take the Saturday nights during the playoffs and announce an award each Saturday night. I think that would be cool. That's my vote on how they should do it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't have a say in the game, but we'll pretend that we do. All right, last week I fired some name association at Blake, and what I did is I'd say a name, and he had to say the first thing that came to mind. Some were a name, some were a phrase, and he had to say the first thing that came to mind. This week we're going to fire back. Blake's going to do that to me.
Paul Maurice.
Best coach in the National Hockey League. Did you ever see the clip when Paul Maurice is on the bench and he is pissed off at Patrick Laine?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And he is freaking ripping him. And Liney's on the ice, and he is just bitching up a storm on what Liney's doing.
And then he goes, and doesn't he go out and score a goal?
Liney's out on the ice, and Maurice is in the bench, and he's freaking hot. He's pissed. And Laine is pissing him off, and he gets the puck, and he fires it, and he goes, oh, okay. or go do that.
Yeah.
Freaking great. And the reason I like Maurice is he's a straight shooter. I think he's a great coach. And I also love how he is with the media. He's one of my favorites.
Okay. Mika Kiprusoff.
Best Flames goaltender of all time. Underrated. Underrated, actually. Underrated in the National Hockey League, not underrated in Calgary. He kept some really, really shitty Flames teams relevant.
Yeah, he did. Did I ever tell you that when I went to the game in December is the first time that he was back in Calgary?
I know.
Since he retired?
Yeah, I was watching.
It was crazy. The place went bananas.
Because he's like the third or fourth most loved Flame ever.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Leon Draisaitl.
Showing his worth.
Yeah, that contract's going to be a bargain.
He's
a bargain. $9 million.
He's for real. When he faced criticism some of the prior years here, I always just shook my head and thought, I don't know if this is Leon Draisaitl's fault. I think it took a little bit of time for him to adjust to the National Hockey League. And
9 points his rookie season.
And to live over here. This isn't, I mean, for him to come over here, we expect these guys at that age to come over to another country and just pick up like nothing ever happened. I'm going to tell you a little story about that. About 4 years ago, our junior hockey team brought in a goaltender from Sweden. Now we're talking a 17-year-old kid. His name was Samu Lonkala. The first day he flew into the States, he arrived after a long-ass flight. I don't even know how many hours. And I talked to him that day because I was doing color for the team that year. And he seemed out of sorts, and he was going to get the start that night in a preseason game in Bismarck. Preseason game. The first period he was scheduled to play the first period and a half, or half the game, I guess, and got absolutely shelled, looked atrocious, let in one from damn near freaking center ice, and all I thought was, what in the hell did we get from Sweden? Well, as we rode the bus home that night, I thought, well, wait a second.
Different ice dimensions.
Not even that. This is a freaking 17-year-old kid. Think about putting your ass, Blake, at 17 years old on an airplane, flying you over to Sweden, throwing on some gear, and having you play that night.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we expecting? And I think that's kind of what we thought. I kind of saw with Leon Draisaitl, is he came over here as a young rookie and didn't meet the expectations that everybody had for him. It didn't mean he wasn't going to turn into the NHL player that he is today. And we said it earlier in the episode. He's top 5 in my mind.
Yeah. Okay. Battle of Alberta.
Shit show. Off the charts. It's a damn travesty that we're not going to get it in the first round of the playoffs. It's an injustice. It's the only thing about this playoff system, and I understand that they had to do it the way they did, and I think it's fine. But it is bullshit that it was probably going to happen this year, that Calgary met Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs, and oh my God, would that have been unreal.
That would have been the first time since the 80s?
Yeah.
Or did they play in the 90s?
No, I don't believe they played in the 90s. It would have been the first time since the 80s. Maybe 1990.
Yeah, when the Oilers won the Cup without Messier. Or without Gretzky.
Think about that, Blake. Off the charts.
The last word I have for you is your favorite player, Zach Kassian.
Shit disturber. Overpaid. That's one word that comes to mind now. I think the Oilers are going to regret that. Now, I also will give him credit in the fact that I think he knows his role really, really well. And I think he does a good job of it. I really do. But they paid him way too much because you need that guy in your team to be that shit disturber and to be the guy that can stand up for other players. But let's face it, Zach Kassian is not the greatest hockey player. And that being said,
player, he's not.
Yeah, but he's getting paid like a second line winger, but he should be a fourth line winger. And
Edmonton has not much depth, so
they're gonna though, Blake. If this team's gonna compete for the Stanley Cup, they're gonna have to develop young depth that doesn't include the name Zach Kassian. I think Oilers fans who justified and didn't belittle that contract are gonna regret that sucker a couple years from now.
Okay, that's it.
You got it. That was all of them. All right. Was that 5? Okay, that's good. I love doing that name association. I don't know why I do, but I do. I don't know. It just adds a little bit of something, and always fun. I like getting put on the spot, and let's do it some more. Let's do it with 3 questions.
Inside Edge Hockey News, bringing the NHL to the fans.
It's time for 3 questions.
Blake, I fired 3 questions at you last episode, which is 2 weeks ago now, which feels like forever. Your turn to fire 3 questions at me tonight, and I will be back to get you back here in a couple weeks when we record again.
With the NHL coming back, what are you excited about for the most?
Something to look forward to. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest thing that hurt me mentally the most during this pandemic is I realized and learned how an insignificant game in February on a Thursday night at 9:00 Central gives me something to look forward to and gets me through the tough days during the week. And I miss sports. I really, really miss sports. And I miss hockey the most, obviously. I actually miss some of the other ones too, but I miss hockey the most. But I think it's that. I think it's something to think about during the days, something to talk about during the days, something to speculate. I love thinking about hockey, and that's probably the one thing that has been the most difficult.
Question number 2. Which team has the most pressure in the playoffs this year?
That's a good question. And the first team that I thought of, I actually thought about this the other day. And the first one I thought of was the Tampa Bay Lightning. But the more I think about it, the more I think that maybe for once, they have the least pressure.
You think?
Because last year,
you got 2 first-round picks.
They shit the bed so hard last year that, and then now having a break, I don't know. You want to know what my answer is? And a lot of people listening to this are going to be like, "Oh, that's freaking easy. That's just a cop-out way to do this." I think the Toronto Maple Leafs. Mm-hmm. And here's why. That team is freaking screwed when it comes to the cap. And they're going to have to liquidate players. They're going to have to do things that they don't want to do as a management group. And if they don't win this year with all of the big guns up front and a couple decent defensemen now and a good goaltender, they're screwed because they're losing players next year, whether they want to believe they are or not. So I think, honestly, that the biggest pressure goes on to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
So you're kind of going in the direction that the Tampa Bay Lightning this year is kind of like a couple years ago with Washington, where nobody expected them to win the cup.
No, because how many people have you heard say that they think Tampa's going to win for sure? I haven't. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the show. They were the number one possibility mathematically to win it, and I don't argue that. But I don't think a lot of people on Hockey Talk Radio are saying, "Hey, it's a shoo-in for the Tampa Bay Lightning," like we were last year, Blake.
Yeah, and
I think that pressure is dissipated because you know what? It's funny, and you can look at Washington Capitals as an example, like you brought up. When you have a epic failure like Tampa Bay did last year, that was such a humiliating out that so many fans just gave up hope at that point that it's all almost been forgotten now, and the pressure's off. It's time to go on.
I don't think they forgot it.
No, but they didn't come into this year saying they were quiet this year because they were humiliated last year, and I feel like the pressure's off them, and it's all there for the taking. If Tampa Bay can play well, they got a healthy Stamkos now, and think about this. That team's
every team's healthy though. I know. Teams that lose and say, "Oh, we were hurt." No. I know. Everybody's healthy. Everybody's rested. Everybody's ready to go. Honestly, I'm gonna say that this is gonna be the best playoffs that we've ever seen.
Yeah, but you know what scares me the most on it though is it's going to be, and I think a lot of people are forgetting about this just because we're so damn excited to have hockey back. But there's two parts to this. It's going to be so weird not having fans in the arena.
That's going to be my next question.
And you know what? Well, go ahead. Ask the question. I got one other thought. Go ahead. What do we?
Okay, so
is this question 3?
Yeah, this is question 3.
Okay.
With the NHL having no fans and with speculation of possibly having fake crowd noise, do you think the NBA should adopt the NBA style and play music or something like that?
No, my God.
So but they're going to have to do something because there's going to be guys dropping F-bombs and the mics are going to be picking it up. What do you think they're going to do?
Plug crowd noise in. I do not want that stupid music shit.
I don't know about fake crowd.
What's the difference, Blake? They put fake birds on the freaking golf tournament. Nobody's bitching there.
Do you think it's fake?
I know they do at the Masters. There's freaking fake birds chirped in. I'm not even shitting you. I couldn't believe it when I heard that. Not kidding.
Yeah, I think they are going to do fake crowd noise, but I don't know. I'd have to see what it looks like on TV.
So let me ask you a question. Everybody's worried about social gathering and having arenas, and quite honestly, I don't know. I can get hate mail over this. I think we could fill the arenas up right now and everything would be fine. But haven't we kind of proved that with the protests? I don't know. Yeah.
The coronavirus isn't even a thing anymore.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. It's game 1, Toronto against, they play Columbus, right? Yeah. Toronto against Columbus.
Yeah.
It's being played in Columbus. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Or Chicago. I don't know where it's being played. It's being played somewhere. How many fans are going to be outside the ACC watching it?
Watching it on the big screen?
Or do they not put the big screen up?
They probably won't put it up. You're talking Jurassic Park? Yeah.
So let me ask you this question. If you're a business owner in Toronto and you want to be the biggest hero in the city, I rent an area and I put up the biggest freaking screen and I advertise the shit out of my business, and I bet you I got 40,000 screaming fans there every single night the Leafs play.
Yeah, honestly, bars are going to make a shit ton of money.
So
bars will be full.
So let me ask you this, Blake. So it is okay
if they go to the bars, but it's not,
and get lit up like crazy and watch the game there, where you're touching shoulders with everybody in there.
High five.
But yet we can go to the arena and sit 2 feet apart or a foot apart and watch the game. It just doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it.
There would be a way to probably do that. You have to sit 4 seats away.
No, just freaking sit in the seat next to us. Just don't lick the other person's fucking head. Right? You guys, this isn't going to go away. We have to learn as a society how to adapt and handle this. This is doable. We've proven it.
Mm-hmm.
We've proven it. It's doable. We just have to be careful. We can't go without fans forever.
What happened to the listener questions?
Well,
is that a thing anymore?
It is. And we'll get back to it as soon as we get back to hockey. It's just hard to get listener questions when there's nothing right now on.
Honestly, in 2 weeks, you should just ask me 50 questions, and that should be the episode.
Should we do that?
What, honestly, like, what is there to talk about?
No, let's do this, Blake. Because you know what? In 2 weeks, we aren't going to have anything to talk about because camps won't have started. So let's do this. I'll do 25 questions for you. You do 25 questions for me.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Because, like, I was just thinking, like, the NHL Awards thing was cool because that's supposed to be happening this month and stuff like that. But I mean, like, like in 2 weeks, there is going to be, unless something drastic happens.
We'll probably talk a little bit of news to start the show off, but I'm excited just to have hockey back. And I felt good getting this episode prepared just because there was some hockey news to talk about. And, yeah. It's we're dealing with some crazy times, and I don't know. I'm excited to keep things going. We got July 10th to think about it. You know,
how many days away is that? How many days?
I don't know. 20.
What's the day today?
20 days.
It's 15th, so yeah, about 20 days.
The hardest thing about this whole pandemic is not having things to look forward to, and just getting that date just helps me out a ton. And we can kind of build our off-season schedule through June now. And in a couple of weeks on June 29th, we'll record our next episode and we'll do our questions episode. And then the next week, camps will open and then we'll have stuff to talk about with that. And we're going to get through this NHL pause. It's going. It's taken forever. But, yeah, we'll get through it. And we've had to get just a little bit creative. But
hey, for the word association.
We've made it. We can't go into word association every week.
No. Like, so for the word association, I was going to ask you about the 2004 Cup run.
Oh, I'd have been fine with that. I could have just fired back with 2011, but hey. We'll also do a little bit of Flames Canucks talk because everybody knows and our listeners know that those are our two favorite teams. And prior to this play-in round, we'll have a little banter back and forth on those two as we get creative as this NHL pause continues. And this is our escape. This is how Blake and I are getting through this, is recording episodes, as we've enjoyed doing that. And we hope that our listeners have enjoyed our hockey talk through this break. And keep positive, everybody out there. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Wouldn't it be incredible if there was a daily fantasy sports app that was built for hockey? And not just an afterthought to football and other sports? We are excited to introduce UBGM.com, the first hockey-centric daily fantasy app. UBGM will be launching later this fall and needs your feedback. Expert, casual, and new players welcome. Sign up at ubgm.com/thedebate to become a VIP member.
Get connected. The Debate Hockey Podcast can be found on Twitter @Debate Hockey. Also, make sure you check us out on our Facebook page, The Debate Hockey Podcast. Brad Burud can be found on Twitter @BradBurud, and co-host Blake Friars can also be found on Twitter @Friars_Blake. If you like what you hear, please rate and review us on Apple Podcast. The Debate Hockey Podcast can be found on all major podcast players. And please consider subscribing to the Inside Edge Hockey News on Patreon. That'll get you exclusive content and much more. Thanks again, and enjoy the hockey action.
Kevin Bieksa had come up and had a word with Westgard a moment ago, and now Bieksa is going to face off against Westgard, so the defenseman moves up for the Canucks.
Tortorella at the Vancouver bench is already looking at the
and here we
Calgary
go.
bench.
Line brawl to start this game.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Debate Hockey Podcast with your host, Brad Burud. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit InsideEdgeHockeyNews.com and on Twitter @InsideEdgeHOCKE and Facebook @Inside Edge Hockey News. We'll catch you next time.
This has been a production of Inside Edge Hockey News Radio, copyrighted and distributed by the Inside Edge Hockey Media Group.